Have you ever noticed how those people who seem to become successful overnight uh, always seem to have like a hidden backstory?
Yeah,
Like we're only seeing the good stuff, you know?
the highlight reel.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And we're left wondering what really happened, you know?
right.
Like what were the actual stumbles and breakthroughs that got them to where they are?
Absolutely.
And maybe you're even on your own journey right now,
Yeah.
and you're just trying to put all the pieces together, trying to figure out what actually gets you to some kind of like real achievement in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're going to be digging into today.
Awesome.
We've got something really cool to look at today.
Okay.
15 lessons from someone who's had like a really interesting life.
Well, and I think what makes this set of lessons so valuable is that this person has come so far.
Oh, yeah.
You know, picture this. A 20-year-old just trying to make it in a tiny London flat
Oh, wow.
to someone who builds a marketing company, sells it for a ton of money, and then their very next venture explodes to a $50 million valuation.
That's incredible.
I mean, that kind of jump is almost like something out of a movie, you know?
It really is.
So getting to peek behind the curtain like this is huge.
I mean, that $50 million valuation,
Yeah.
that basically means that people believe that this new company is going to be worth at least that much in the future.
Right. Exactly.
Based on how it's growing and how much money it's making.
Exactly.
So yeah, today we're going to try to be like your shortcut to all of that experience.
Yeah.
We're going to find the best insights and hopefully some surprising stuff too from these 15 lessons.
Yeah.
And our goal isn't to overload you with a ton of info.
Right.
It's to give you stuff you can actually use. You know, those aha moments
I love
that
it.
you can apply no matter where you are in your journey.
Love it.
Like whether you're just starting out or you're already doing your thing or whatever your background is.
Yeah. Makes sense.
This is about real world wisdom, not just like ideas. So let's just dive right into the first lesson, which is surround yourself with the right people.
All right.
This one really stood out to me.
Yeah.
The author remembers being 20 years old in this small London flat and just getting bombarded with advice from everyone.
Right.
Family, friends, people he just met.
Everything's that advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just makes you think about how much the people around us shape where we end up in life.
It really does, right? I mean, think about it. Advice isn't just random chatter.
Yeah.
It's almost like a set of instructions that we start following without even realizing it.
That's true.
And if those instructions are coming from people whose lives you wouldn't actually want for yourself, you have to ask yourself, where are those instructions leading?
That's a good point.
What are you actually building for your life, you know?
Yeah. And the author actually talks about how he spent years listening to people whose lives, honestly, when you look closely, were kind of a mess.
Right.
Like their relationships were strained. Maybe they struggled with addiction, things like that. And then he had this big realization.
Oh.
He realized that he needed to be around people whose lives he really respected.
Right.
People with strong marriages, well-adjusted kids.
Yeah.
Just a quiet kind of confidence that you could tell was real.
And I think what's so interesting here is that it's not just about outward success.
Right.
It's about respecting the whole person.
Exactly.
The author uses this great example of this guy named Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Paul was an entrepreneur, but he didn't own like a fancy yacht or anything like that.
Okay.
But he had access to one if he wanted.
Okay.
But his priorities were different.
Yeah.
He valued his family time, his purpose in life,
Yeah.
more than material things.
Right. And that really makes you think about what truly makes life admirable.
It does.
It's not just about fancy cars and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's about things like making good choices,
Mm-hmm.
even when it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Always trying to learn and grow,
Absolutely.
and being kind and generous to other people.
Those are the things that matter.
Yeah. And the author connects this lesson to his own life now.
Oh, that's great.
He has a long and happy marriage.
Awesome.
He's close with his son, and he's financially secure without needing to show off.
I like it.
It's like he's living proof that this stuff works.
Absolutely.
So the takeaway for you listening is to really look at the people you're close to,
Yeah.
your mentors, your advisors, your inner circle.
Yeah.
Do you honestly respect their lives?
Good question.
Like all aspects of their lives?
Yeah.
If not, maybe it's time to rethink those relationships.
You know, it's about surrounding yourself with people who have what you want.
Yeah.
And not just in one area of life,
Right.
but in all areas.
Yeah. Okay, so the second lesson is lean into risk.
Okay.
And the author takes us back to when he was 22,
Right.
about to pitch his first big idea, And he remembers feeling so nervous,
Oh, I bet.
like that feeling of not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Right. Like you get that knot in your stomach,
Oh.
and there's this little voice saying, just play it safe.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But the author says that whole idea of just work hard and get lucky is total BS.
Oh, wow.
He says that taking risks is what really pushes you forward.
That's interesting.
And he gives some really specific advice.
Oh, okay, I like it.
He says take one big risk every single week.
Wow.
Every week.
Yeah, that might sound kind of scary at first.
Yeah, a little bit.
But the idea is to get comfortable being outside of your comfort zone.
Right, to push yourself.
Yeah. So what would you consider a big risk in your life right now?
That's a good question.
And how do you balance that with not being reckless?
Right, you don't want to just jump into anything.
Exactly. And the author gives this crazy example.
Oh.
He started his first real business by betting everything on one single client pitch,
Yeah.
with no backup plan whatsoever.
Oh, wow, that's a huge risk.
It was a massive leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it could have totally failed.
Yeah, but it shows you that sometimes you have to be really brave to achieve big things.
Yeah, it's like risk is a muscle. Okay.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
I like that analogy.
And it's not like you just conquer risk once and then you're done.
Right.
The author says he still gets scared.
Oh, yeah.
He even talks about being afraid to film a YouTube video,
Wow.
but he does it anyway.
It's like he's constantly pushing himself.
Exactly, and then he asks this question.
What is it?
What's your risk today?
Oh, wow.
It's like he's challenging us to think about what we can do right now to push ourselves.
To take action.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so lesson number 3, slash your costs.
Okay, interesting. So we're going from taking risks to cutting back.
Yeah, so the author remembers being 25 and
Right.
making some money for the first time,
Okay.
and he was tempted to buy a fancy BMW.
I mean, who wouldn't be tempted, right?
Right, like you want to show off your success a little bit,
For sure.
but looking back, the author regrets it.
Hmm.
And he says this really important thing.
Okay, what's that?
True wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much you keep.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And he remembers how he used to spend too much money on things just to impress people.
Oh, yeah.
And he realized that stuff doesn't actually make you happy.
It's true.
True happiness comes from doing what you love.
Yeah, and from experience.
Exactly.
Not things.
Right. And he talks about how Jeff Bezos is still really frugal.
Really?
Yeah. Even though he's like super rich.
That's wild. I would have thought.
I know, right?
Eh.
But it shows that being smart with your money is important no matter how much you have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the author tells this great story about how he slept on a friend's couch in Hong Kong
Wow.
just to save money while he was starting a business.
So he was willing to give up comfort to achieve his goals.
Exactly.
That's impressive.
So the advice here is to prioritize living below your means.
Okay.
Like really look at your spending.
Yeah.
Get rid of stuff you don't need.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even downsize your living situation if it makes sense for you. And don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses, you know?
Yeah, the whole designer label thing.
Exactly. Free up that money so you can invest in your dreams.
Instead of just paying bills all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all about being mindful with your spending.
Uh-huh.
Making sure it aligns with what you really care about.
Okay, so the next lesson is travel smart.
All right, travel smart.
So the author's 27,
Okay.
arriving in Hong Kong with very little money,
Okay.
but he's really eager to learn.
So this isn't about like planning a vacation.
No, not at all.
It's more about using travel as a tool.
Yeah, like to gain a fresh perspective.
Exactly.
And he talks about how he learned so much from his travels.
Oh, like what?
Like observing how markets worked in Shanghai,
Okay.
practicing his bargaining skills in Bali,
Interesting.
seeing the incredible development in Beijing.
Wow. So it's really about immersing yourself in a new place.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't get that from just reading a book or watching a documentary.
It's a whole different experience.
It is. Have you ever had a trip that like totally changed how you saw things?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And the author used those insights to come up with business ideas.
Oh, wow. Tell me more.
Like he saw what was working in other cultures,
Okay.
and then he found ways to adapt those ideas.
I like it.
Like he started selling Chinese gadgets in Britain,
Oh, cool.
and then he took successful British ideas and brought them to Asia.
That's really smart.
So he was really paying attention and being creative.
Yeah.
And the author says, don't wait until you have a ton of money to travel.
Okay.
Just go, even if it means taking a simple job.
Yeah.
Move somewhere new, hustle, learn.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like the world becomes your classroom.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so the fifth lesson is try everything.
Try everything, all right? I'm intrigued.
So picture this, the author's 15 years old,
15, okay.
and he decides to start a gardening company.
A gardening company at 15.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
He had no experience
Okay.
and no tools.
So how...
That's what I'm saying. It took so much initiative.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he just had this boldness.
Yeah.
This like, I'm just going to do it attitude.
I love that.
And that's the main point of this lesson.
What is it?
You'll never find your strengths and passions
Right.
if you don't try new things.
You have to experiment.
Exactly. And the author talks about all sorts of things he tried in his 20s.
Like what?
He was bartender.
Oh, wow.
He did cold calling.
Okay.
He even DJ'd.
Wow. That's a lot of different things.
And each of those experiences taught him something,
right.
whether it went well or not.
So it was all part of the process.
Exactly. And eventually, all those experiences led him to where he is now.
Which is a
Successful marketing author.
That's awesome.
So it wasn't a straight path.
It was a journey.
Yeah. A winding road of trying things out.
Until he found his thing.
Exactly. And he actually says that failing fast is a good thing.
What do you mean by failing fast?
Like, don't be afraid to try something and have it not work out, because you learn from those failures.
Then the faster you learn.
The faster you can move on to something that does work.
That makes sense.
So the message here is try new things. Don't be afraid to mess up and keep trying until you find what you're really good at.
I like it.
Okay, so lesson 6, master one skill.
Master one skill. What's that?
So the author is 30 now.
All right.
And he realizes he's really good at sales.
Okay.
And he makes this interesting point.
What's that?
He says that in school, we're always told to focus on our weaknesses.
Right. Like if you're bad at history, you have to study more history.
Yeah, exactly. But he says we should actually focus on our strengths.
On what we're already good at.
Exactly. Like find that one thing that just clicks for you and make it your superpower.
Okay, I like that superpower.
Yeah, and he uses this analogy of soccer players.
Okay.
Like you wouldn't expect the best striker to also be the best goalie.
Right. They have their specialty.
Exactly. And he talks about his son who's really into singing.
Oh, nice.
And how he practices all the time to get better.
It's all about dedication.
Yeah, so the advice is find a skill that you either already love or discover through trying things out.
Right, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and then commit to becoming amazing at it.
Because that expertise can really make you stand out.
Exactly. Okay, so lesson 7 is start with nothing.
Start with nothing. That's interesting.
Yeah, so the author's 28.
Okay.
And he manages to successfully pitch this marketing idea without any money to back it up.
Wait, so he had no starting capital?
None. And he actually says that not having money can be an advantage.
Really? How so?
Because it forces you to be resourceful and creative.
I never thought of it that way.
Right. It's like you have to find a way to make it work.
You have to hustle.
Exactly. And he says, forget that excuse of, I can't start a business.
Yeah.
I don't have the money.
Yeah, because you can find ways around that.
Yeah, he compares it to those big investors who have a ton of money.
Right.
He says they can get complacent.
Oh, because they don't have that same pressure.
Exactly. But if you have nothing, you have to be scrappy.
You have to fight for every opportunity.
Yeah, and he tells the story of how he started that gardening business when he was 15.
Right, with no tools.
Yeah, and he actually made a profit from just a small down payment from a client.
Wow. So he turned that lack of resources into an opportunity.
Exactly. And he's saying you can do the same thing.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to charge for your work up front.
Yeah.
Deliver real value. And remember that the people with the money often need your skills.
They need what you can offer.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about being creative and resourceful.
All right, so lesson 8 is work hard smart.
Work hard smart.
So the author remembers pulling all-nighters in his 20s.
Those late nights fueled by ambition.
Exactly. He had so much energy back then.
Yeah, we all did.
And he's not saying that hard work alone is the key.
Right, we talked about risk too.
Yeah, but hard work is the foundation.
It sets you up.
Yeah, especially when you're young.
Yeah, you have more energy to burn.
And he says, use those early years strategically.
Okay.
Work hard so you can cut costs.
Right.
Travel. Figure out who you are.
And build something for yourself.
Exactly. But then he says something really important.
Okay, what's that?
It's not just about working hard. It's about working hard towards owning something.
Having equity.
Exactly. He says equity is the end game.
So you're not just building someone else's dream.
Yeah, you're building your own.
I like that.
The goal is to create a life where you have the freedom to spend time with your family.
And not be tied to a job you don't love.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's about working hard, but working smart.
Yeah, make sure your hard work is getting you closer to your goals.
And ideally, to owning a piece of something.
Okay, so lesson number 9 is partner with opposites.
Partner with opposites.
So the author is 32,
Okay.
and he meets this accountant named Lisa.
Lisa.
Yeah, at a networking event.
Okay.
And she's really quiet, but they ended up working really well together.
How so?
Well, the author is really outgoing and charismatic,
Okay.
and Lisa's really good with numbers.
So they balanced each other out.
Exactly, and they had a ton of success together.
That's cool.
And the author realized that it's important to have people around you who have different skills than you.
Right.
She says his extroverted friends were fun, but they didn't help him grow.
They didn't fill in his gaps.
Yeah, exactly.
So the advice here is to look for partners who are different from you. Like if you're great with ideas, find someone who's great at making them happen.
Right. Or if you're amazing at sales, find someone who's amazing at systems.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to look outside of your usual circles.
Yeah.
Go to different events, you know?
Like what?
If you're in marketing, go to a coding meetup.
Okay.
Or if you're more operations focused, go to a startup pitch event.
Yeah.
You never know where you'll find your perfect partner.
And when you find the right person,
Yeah.
you can become unstoppable.
Because you combine your strengths.
Exactly.
I like it.
Okay, so lesson 10, need it, don't want it.
Need it, don't want it. Okay.
So the author's 35, and things are getting expensive.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And he realizes that just wanting to be successful isn't enough.
You have to do more than just want it.
Yeah. He shares this really powerful story.
What is it?
His wife gave him an ultimatum.
Whoa. What did she say?
She said, if we don't make this work, we're done.
Wow. That's serious.
Yeah. And that flipped a switch for him.
He had to take it seriously.
Exactly. It wasn't just about wanting to succeed anymore.
It was a necessity.
Yeah. He needed to make it work.
That's a whole different level of motivation.
And it made all the difference.
So he's saying that we need to create that sense of urgency for ourselves.
Yeah. Like convince yourself that failure is not an option.
That's powerful.
It's about tapping into that deep down drive.
Like when you know you have to make something happen.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do you create that need in your own life?
It might take some mental gymnastics.
Yeah, like reframing how you see things.
Yeah. But if you can do it, it can really change the game.
So it's about turning that pressure into fuel.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, lesson 11. Grab equity.
Equity.
So the author remembers when he was 24,
Okay.
working a regular job with no ownership.
Okay.
And he realized how important it is to have a stake in the outcome.
Right, like to have some skin in the game.
Exactly. So he left that job
Oh,
and joined a startup.
okay.
And he negotiated 5% ownership.
Nice.
But it came with a vesting schedule.
What does that mean?
It means he had to stay with the company for a certain amount of time before he could actually own those shares.
Oh, so it incentivized him to stick around.
Exactly. And he's telling everyone who works for someone else,
Yeah.
don't underestimate your value.
Right.
And don't be afraid to ask for a piece of the pie.
Demand a share of the success.
Yeah. And if your boss won't give you equity,
Yeah.
maybe it's time to find a company that will.
So you're saying your time and commitment are valuable
Exactly. And you can use that as leverage.
when you're negotiating.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so lesson 12, get in shape.
Get in shape.
So the author is 45 now,
Right.
and he's starting to feel the physical effects of all those years of hard work.
Oh, yeah. The body starts to wear down.
Yeah. So he decided to make fitness a priority. Okay, but how?
He built a gym in his studio.
Wow.
Yeah, and he started making exercise part of his everyday routine.
So he made it convenient.
Exactly. He'd go for a run after filming, or he'd walk during meetings.
He found ways to fit it in.
And he realized that being in shape actually helped him in his business.
Really?
Yeah, he says that if you're not healthy,
Yeah.
it can affect your work.
You don't have the same energy.
Exactly. You can't perform at your best.
So taking care of your body is part of taking care of your business.
Exactly. And he's encouraging everyone to find ways to incorporate fitness into their lives.
Yeah, because it's an investment.
In your health and your success.
Absolutely.
Okay, so lesson 13, understand money.
Understand money.
Yeah, so the author's 40 now,
Okay.
and he's trying to really understand how money works.
Beyond just earning and spending, right? Like understanding investments and assets and stuff like that.
So it's about financial literacy.
Exactly. And he had this realization that really surprised him.
What was it?
He realized that owning a house isn't always a good thing
Really? Why not?
because it comes with a lot of costs.
Right, like the mortgage
Yeah, and property taxes and repairs.
and all the bills.
So it can actually be a liability.
That's interesting.
And he also talks about how money is kind of abstract.
What do you mean?
Like its value can change based on what people believe.
Oh, yeah, like with inflation.
Yeah, and he uses the example of Brexit and how it
Yeah.
affected the British pound.
Right, because people's confidence in the currency changed.
Exactly. So he's saying that understanding money is about understanding psychology too.
That's fascinating.
And the main takeaway is that the best way to build wealth
Mm.
is to create value.
To provide something that people need or want.
Exactly. And he uses his own book as an example.
Oh, okay.
He had an idea,
Yeah.
he turned it into a book, and that book created value for people.
And made him money.
Exactly. So he's saying if you focus on creating value, the money will follow.
I like that.
And if you really understand money,
Yeah.
you can achieve financial freedom,
So you can make choices based on what you want.
not just based on what you can afford.
Exactly. Okay, so lesson 14 is pick the right partner.
Pick the right partner.
This is a big one.
Yeah, so the author is 27,
Okay.
and he meets his future wife,
All right.
and she has all these amazing qualities.
Like what?
She's smart, she's connected, she's a designer.
Wow.
And he emphasizes that choosing the right partner is about more than just initial attraction.
Right.
He says lust fades, but grit lasts.
What does he mean by grit?
Like determination and resilience.
Oh, okay.
He says you need a partner who challenges you,
Yeah.
supports you,
Mm-hmm.
and shares your goals.
Absolutely.
And he credits a lot of his success to his wife.
Wow. So he's saying that the right partner can make a huge difference.
A huge difference.
It makes you think about how important those close relationships are.
It really does.
So it's about finding someone who compliments you,
Yeah.
who helps you grow,
Yeah.
and who's there for you through thick and thin.
Okay, so the last lesson is find your purpose.
Find your purpose.
So the author remembers being 15,
Okay.
feeling lost, and like school wasn't really preparing him for life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
And that's actually where his sense of purpose came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wanted to fix education.
Make it more relevant.
Yeah, and make knowledge more accessible to everyone.
That's a great purpose.
And he says that having a purpose gives you direction.
Like a compass.
Yeah, and it gives you motivation.
Because you're doing something you care about.
Exactly. And he gives some advice on how to find your purpose.
Okay. I'm
So
listening.
make a list of things you love,
All right.
then try to incorporate those things into your daily life.
Okay.
Or learn from someone who's already living their purpose.
I like that.
And he says, don't worry if you don't have it all figured out right away.
It takes time.
Yeah, it's a journey.
So it's about exploring and trying things out.
And paying attention to what feels right.
And learning from others.
Exactly.
Okay, so that was 15 lessons.
15 lessons from someone who's been there and done that.
And they're not just theories.
Right, they're real life lessons.
From someone who's faced real challenges.
And achieved real success.
Exactly.
So think about which lesson resonated with you the most.
Yeah.
And remember, these principles can be applied to any area of your life.
Absolutely.
So as you think about these lessons,
Yeah.
what's one small step you can take this week?
One small bet
Yeah, to put these ideas into action.
to make a change.
Exactly. Even a small action can make a big difference.
Especially if it's inspired by these lessons.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We can't wait to see where your journey takes you.
Keep exploring and keep growing.